Good evening. It is another Tuesday coming up to wrapping up 2021. It's been a fantastic year and it's been a fantastic week for the Colts fans. Just before I introduce the people who with me, a few things in the forward. First of all, Colts fans will know, and most of the NFL world will know by now, about the trauma that Ryan Kelly and his wife had to go through. We just wish him well here at UK Colts fans. You know, rivalries aside and the game aside, you wouldn't wish that upon your worst enemy. So prayers to him. Anyway, to get onto the show, the famous song "Clowns to the left of me, Jokers to the right." I'll start with my left. Robbie, how's it going, bud?
Yes, mate, we are top notch after this week.
Excellent. And then to my right is a new guest, a special guest, Nate. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell the UK Colts fans who you are?
Yeah, I'm Nate. I'm host on the Un-American Football Show. We do a couple of shows a week on the NFL as a whole, rather than just the Colts. I've actually been banned from talking too much about the Colts.
Criminal.
Yeah. So here I am.
There's two rules to this show, Nate. The first rule is Jack Doyle is God, and that is the be all and end all. And the second rule is that we are extreme homers and we love the Colts.
Yeah. We have a segment called the No Homers Club, where I get one line to talk about the Colts, and then that's it. We move on.
And I hope Jack Doyle's in that every single line.
He isn't, but he will be from tonight onwards.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So
I'm the honorary founder member of the Jack Doyle is God Club.
So I'll start with a little recap of where we started this season, Robbie. And I think, me and you said it was never going to be a straightforward path to the top of the mountain. There was going to be hiccups. And I remember, I think when we was 1-3 or 1-4, whatever it was. And Frank Reich, he said one important thing that made me believe, and that was don't flinch. And 4-1 in your own end zone against the best rushing defense this Colts team has seen. We pick it up and Frank Reich doesn't even blink. Wow, what a way to start.
Do you know what? It's he's got balls, I've seen many an NFL coach that would have just punted it away, try and played safe. Frank Reich at the time, it seems like he's playing a bit of Madden, just a bit careless sometimes. But Frank Reich, as much as I've given him a bit of stick, he is a stats man. He'll go by what he's told from the booth, about the statistics, about what percentages will work, and he'll always go with it. And it's nice not having Jacoby Brissett kind of walk on for these short yardage and being able to trust the Ginger Ninja.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to bring Nate to just. I could obviously see who was laughing at that. Thank God we got rid of the Jacoby Brissett package, especially when I saw the Dolphins run it. But yeah, what was your initial reaction after the game, Nate?
Relief, I think. We've all sat through way too many occasions where we've gone ahead by double digits in the first half, occasionally in the first quarter, and lost. Yeah. So at halftime, it was a bit of the odd squeaky bum time, and I was a bit like, oh no, here we go. It's going to happen again, isn't it? And of course it's going to happen because it's the Patriots. But no, we kept our heads above water, and thank God for Jonathan Taylor.
That Nate, when you said that about obviously squeaky bum time, if there's any Colts fans that said they were confident going into that fourth quarter that we were going to win, they are liars.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah. It was what 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, tomorrow's ruined. I'm going to be so tired, and we're going to again."
Yeah.
But no, hey, we get to live to see another day, though.
Mm-hmm. We do. And to top it all off, the Titans lost again.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful. I can't believe that happened.
I mean, I did say the Titans lose out a couple of weeks ago, Robbie. That's all I'm saying.
3 weeks ago, you said that.
Yeah. But anyway, to get onto the rating, let's start with the special teams. Nate, for you, because you won't know, we fucking love this special teams unit, and we love Bubba Ventroin. We think he's an absolute addition.
Yeah.
How would you? I mean, because this is your first time on the show, so I'll think about the Pats game, but think about the whole season. How would you rate Bubba Ventroin?
Well, one of the biggest parts, one of the biggest improvements, I think, in not just the last year, but the last couple of years, is that we're making plays on special teams where possibly we weren't before. You know, Isaiah Rodgers had a kick return last year, touchdown against the Browns, and obviously we're now getting, you know, we've got the second blocked punt touchdown of the year. So we're coming up clutch. You know, we didn't have much kick returning to do. There were no punt returns this week, but the three kick returns from Hines and Rodgers went for 63 yards. You know, if you're averaging like 21 yards per kick return, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's a really good, solid effort from the boys. I really, really like what we're doing. We're doing on special teams. It's fantastic.
If you had to give Bubba something out of 10,
I'm not going to say 10 because we didn't score, but every kick return. But let's say a solid 7.
Okay, yeah.
Not much more he can do. It's almost perfect. Almost.
Yeah. The one thing, Robbie, that wasn't perfect, no fault of Bubba Ventroin, was the Colts have got kicking problems again. But Badgley, for someone who's fighting for a spot in the NFL next year, he really needs to make these plus 46 yarders.
Absolutely. You know, it's what three's missed now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously we're very, very lucky with the Patriots and their discipline at the weekend. You know, some of Badgley's kicks look really smooth, you know, so the way they're kind of floating through the middle of the post, but you know, when we're coming through to crunch time when it comes to playoff football, you know, you need to be able to rely on the kickers, you know, to kind of keep that scoreboard ticking over you. So, you know, I think it'd be a bit harsh to bring Hot Rod in already. You know, Badgley's deserved. You know, he's had some.
He has made some clutch kicks.
So, you know, I know there's a bit of news about apparently Hot Rod's fit, but he's staying on IR. You know, I think you got to stay with Badgley for now. Well, I would anyway. But from that unit, you know, it is superb. And just going on what Nate said, you know, with the kind of impact we kind of make it, not just from kick returns, but actually making an impact and making their special teams coordinators scheme for us, and you know, making their kickers and their punters kind of think about what we can do. You know, because you've got people like, you know, as you know, Harris, you know, we spoke about people like Jordan Glasgow and Adams, you know, and Rodgers, and kind of everyone that kind of competes for their positional spot, but then having to do that, you know, and obviously relaying it back to like people like Jack Doyle. They started with special teams, you know, and he's fought for the tight end spot. But without that special teams unit, he wouldn't be where he is today. And remember, last time we played the Patriots on a late night, you know, we lost because of a special teams play. So it was really nice for the kind of Bill to kind of eat that.
Yeah. So out of 10 for Badgers.
You know, for the special teams, you know, I'd give him an 8 or a 9. For this week.
Yeah.
And Sanchez, you know, we always give him a special mention. You know, he goes so underrated. He goes so under the radar for his punting ability.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez, you know, he's stepping into McAfee's boots. We all know the media star McAfee was and what he's gone on to be. It can be quite intimidating trying to fill the punter of the decade boots, Nick, right? Nate, sorry, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, he's he's sensational. The guy is great. I mean, this weekend, 87 yards off two punts, one inside the 20, which was a great spot. It's got to be difficult replacing the best punter there's probably been for the last 20, 30, possibly more years, right? McAfee was an absolute animal. People see him in doing what he does in the media and probably just forget, or maybe I'm not even aware that he was as good as he was. He talks enough about being on the Colts, but he doesn't really talk up his ability all that much, right? Like the guy is class. The guy was class. And Rigo just, you run out of superlatives, don't you? Like, the guy's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty flawless. And it could, I know it's very cliche, but flipping field position really does impact the game and really does win you a game.
Yeah.
So 7-8 for the special teams. I can't really argue with that. I'm just in love with Bubba Ventroy. If that guy's not a head coach in the future, I'd be surprised.
I was listening to Kevin Bowen today, his podcast, and he was saying apparently he's up for people are actually betting on him getting a head coaching job for next season.
Jeez, that is, that's big credit, but let's try and keep him. Let's try and keep him.
Is he any good at coordinating the defense?
No idea. We'll save the defense, Robbie, because Fluce is my best mate. And we'll go to the offense. We mentioned it in the forward of the show, but the Colts Buffalo Soldier Frank Reich has the biggest balls in the whole of Indianapolis. Just to not even to flinch on the 4th and 1, just knowing that JT, I think it was a sneak from Carson, wasn't it? Knowing that Carson went sneaking behind Quentin Nelson is just guaranteed 1 yard minimum. It's guaranteed. So Robbie, what would you give Frank out of 10?
Now, this might be a little bit unpopular. I don't think he had a good game from his offensive play calling.
Yeah.
When your quarterbacks, obviously he's not playing there as Carson, but again, the first drive was very good, because that's the one that's planned out, that's the one that's pre-planned, that's the one that's already been discussed. Like the first 20 plays, I think they script up to maybe 20, like for that first series. But again, going into the kind of second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, if it wasn't for JT, would we have been going up and down the field? I don't know.
No.
Luckily for us, the Patriots had a very un-Patriots-like game with their penalties that kind of kept either our drive going or stopped their drive or kind of took them out of point scoring. So, and I've seen on Twitter this week, Frank Reich being up for Coach of the Year. But yes, it seems like everyone's playing and everyone's going in the same direction. So from a head coach, perfect, beautiful. That's what you want to see. But from a play caller, I've still got issues. And I've got issues with the play calling from this week. So me, I'd be going a 6, which I'd love to hear what you guys think of that.
Go on, Nate.
I think it's a little harsh. I can understand what you're saying because it's kind of same old. I've been very, very critical over the last 2 years of Reich's play calling. Last year I was screaming for Sirianni to get more play calling time. Didn't happen, and look at what he's doing now, particularly in the running game, right? Those Eagles can run on anyone. I think we've got to think about the opponents this week when we consider Frank, particularly, being the Pats, being Bill, but that being they're probably the best defensive unit in the league at the moment. They're ranked very high on pass defense, but they're actually only ranked 18th, 19th before playing the Colts in run defense. You're going to run it a lot. He only called 12 throws all game, So I know, Wentz only delivered on less than half of those, 5 completions for 57 yards, which is another issue. And that Carson does concern me.
We'll to that definitely.
But I think Frank had a very good, very, very good first, possibly his best first half of the season. I don't think we could have done any better in that first half, quite frankly. Obviously, teams are getting really good at flipping the scripts on the Colts and getting their defenses going and getting their offenses back on the field.
But Nate, sorry to interrupt. Is that because the play calling is too vanilla still? Is it too? Are we showing too easily for the passing game?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Like when I'm sat there, or something I do on a lot of games I watch, is I'll sit there and I'll not often out loud because I'm usually watching the games on my own because my missus don't give a shit. But I'll be sat there and I'll be like, and I'll be sort of play calling along, and I'll be like, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this, this is this, and first half I get probably 70% correct, and even if I call a run and I'll JT out left, he goes straight up the middle. It's still a run, right? But like second half, I'm like, Carson's going to throw it a bomb to Ali Cox, and it don't go that way, and he just keeps trying to run JT up the middle. The thing I've got in my head right now is trying to run JT up the middle in a stacked box against the Bucks over and over and over and over and over again, and getting like sending him 20 times and getting like 6 yards out of it. Like, just it's dodgy. It's like it's the definition of bloody insanity, isn't it? Like he's got to flip it up. I love a lot of what he does, and I actually think he's well in the race for Coach of the Year. But the play calling is the worst thing that he does.
I'm gonna jump to Frank Reich's defense here.
Yeah, cool.
The Patriots special, first touchdown, that was an awesome play.
It was.
I think Frank Reich actually just outcoached Bill Belichick. When you go back and look at it, okay, people like Lawrence Owen, Colts laws brought this up. He said the Colts run for 200 yards and there's nothing Belichick can do to stop it. And when you look, everyone knows who JT is, and everyone knows who this offensive line is. And everyone knew the Colts were going to run it. So I think Belichick thought, okay, well, we can take away the pass, which they could, which they did. But he I think he got arrogant, thinking, okay, well, we're going to stop the run, not knowing that Frank Reich's just going to go, okay, you can beat the Bills with 3 passes. I can beat you with 5 passes. And that, for me, was pure balls. It does get we do get caught out in these situations, right? The playoffs last year against the Bills, we got caught out gambling. The Ravens, the Titans, I can name 50 million games watched where teams have been caught out. But what I did like from Frank Reich was he just didn't buy into the game. And as weird as that sounds, I think you need a head coach who's not going to buy into the history of this game to win it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. You're right in saying like we need Belichick basically. Like you did that against Buffalo, we'll just do it right back to you, and we'll do it better. Go for more yards, and win more comfortably. It was relatively comfortable in the end. It got squeaky and it got close, but the JT blast really, really killed that game. But I just think that he needs to do better. He genuinely needs to do better in the second half of games, because as we see right now, 5th seed, we are getting away with it in the regular season. When you get rid of all the shit teams like your Jacksonville's, your Texans, your Raiders, your Jets, your Dolphins, right? And then you've only got the likes of the Pats, who've got a class defense, the Chiefs, who who for half the year had a rubbish defense and then suddenly have an elite defense. Like once you get rid of these people, get rid of these teams, and you're only going up against good teams, you're just not going to get away with it. And we're sort of only half getting away with it because we're playing these bad teams. Like if we put that performance in next week against the Cardinals, who had a dodgy week this week, but we can't expect that to continue next. We will not win that game. If we have that second half performance, we will not win that game. We need to do better in the play calling, offensive play calling. Defense gets tired as well. Like it doesn't help, but the offense needs to step up in the second half of games for sure.
Just to start controlling the game more. Just so we're not sat there absolutely squeaky bum time.
Like we can pass more against the Cardinals, and we don't have to be what we're going to do. We're going to do it anyway. But it's.
So 6 for Reich.
7.
Yeah,
7 again. There's a lot that he did. He set up the team perfectly, literally perfectly. The first half was brilliant. It slipped to the second half, but we won. So I'll give it 7.
We just got, before we move on, we got a comment from Dino. It is positive that we still haven't managed to click for 4 quarters and still beat decent teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson said it best. If you can win games ugly, you will win championships.
It's the mark of a champion, isn't it? If you can play bad and still win games.
We came to scrap in that game against the Pats, and we only used our left jab, and we still won.
The Patriots have done it for years, haven't they? They haven't really kind of. You can't say that they've been an elite force, game in, game out for their whole kind of dynasty that they had. But definitely, I couldn't disagree much about Frank Reich, but there's just that nagging thing, which I think you agree with, Nate, just his play calling.
Yeah, the Bills game is probably the only game where we've been on top all 4 quarters against a really good team. We could probably say maybe like the 49ers, but they were rubbish at that point. They've only put together a run recently, haven't they?
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the franchise QB, Sammy Erlinger. I'm joking. Carson Wentz. Obviously, the world is split on Carson Wentz, and that's just not Colts fans. That's the world of NFL. You either like him or you hate him. I thought he made a brilliant pass. I think it was a bootleg right, and he just threw it into triple coverage to the only place where I think Pascal. It was Pascal. Yeah, the only place.
Yeah, it was class.
What I didn't, I like the trash talking and turn around, fuck you sort of attitude, but we've seen this from Carson before. When he gets up here in the game and he goes high and he's up with the rest of everyone else trying to be aggressive, he makes rookie mistakes. We don't need Carson to be Superman. We don't need him to do that. Just do your RPOs, do your 10-yard passes, give it to TY, give it to JT. And I also think it's a pro of Frank Reich not forcing the situation on Carson. We saw it in the Titans game. Still hurts, but he had JT wide open. But we saw him again. I have to wonder where my camera is. He was up here with adrenaline. And that's where I think it was an improvement from Reich. I just sort of went, okay, bring it back down. I think. Nate, what was your thinking about Carson Wentz in the game?
Let me just compartmentalize that game and not just Wentz all season. We didn't see him trying to be a hero. Mm-hmm. He didn't scramble when there were better options. He only scrambled when there was nothing on. The pass to Doyle, the pass to Doyle was fantastic. The pass to Pascal was fantastic, but his passing wasn't great. Really inaccurate for a lot of it. The pass. He's a bit unlucky that he didn't get another touchdown pass to Mo Ali Cox. Like that ball should have been caught. That was criminal. And he made a really nice really nice actually throw to TY, but all of the other loose passes, other than the ones from Moani Cox, were just like there's nothing good. There's nothing going anywhere on any of them really, and he was lucky not to have been picked off 3 times. And I don't think any of those passes were particularly like hero balls. They were just the passes should have been on. He was just throwing short, which is a feature of his game. He underthrows, and against I can't remember who, a couple of teams this season, we've had multiple defensive pass interference penalties go our way because the ball's been underthrown, and as soon as that ball's underthrown on a really deep pass, the back's got a hell of a job not being caught on it. It wasn't. I tweeted, I think, probably late in the third quarter, that Carson was really starting to concern me, and that's a position that I've held more or less all season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Robbie, just before I get to you, I've got a comment from Dino. Do I trust Carson 100%? Probably not. However, there is probably only 3 or 4 QBs in the league you would totally trust in every situation.
But there are probably more than 3 or 4 that are better than Carson, though, regardless of whether you trust them entirely. Yeah,
I mean, we could go for every QB who we wanted or who we think's better than Carson Wentz. For me, I look at the trade. Okay, that's where we've got to look. And at this minute, for me, it was the right thing to do.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah. But, Robbie, what did you feel about Carson's game?
Do you know, we're 14 games into the Wentz tenure. Obviously a rocky start, but bringing just this game into the discussion. Some beautiful parts, some beautiful throws, some beautiful runs. He found space when needed. Obviously got us the first downs when needed.
Mm-hmm.
But accuracy issues. I don't know if there's some sort of, I wouldn't say mental issue because I think that's unfair, but there's some sort of block there when the adrenaline's rushing, and when we're going to need to rely on him come playoffs, to lead a drive. There were times in that game where you just felt he couldn't complete a pass. Now, obviously, you said about the Patriots defense, but we've got the personnel out there to get separation, to get space, and I think Wentz, he's either really hot or really cold, and that's the way I felt on Sunday. I still don't know who he is or what he is as a quarterback. I think at times he looked like the rookie out there at times. But bringing back the whole season, he's had games where he's gone and won us the game. At points, he's made some really good throws, and I'm still happy he's our quarterback. Going back to Dino's point, 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league you'd probably trust, but I think we've said before, Harrison, he isn't in that elite kind of quarterback grouping. He's maybe the one or even the one after that. He's an above average quarterback for the league, I feel. And with the team around him, that's all we need.
Just before we get on to rating him, comment from one. Every QB has a bad game occasionally. Look how Brady looked this week. That's just a slide dig. I know, Lawrence. That's a slide dig. Wentz has shown that he can play well when he's needed. Still had the 3rd best INT rate in the NFL. And look, that's the only thing that matters, right? Is that 3rd best ratio.
But yes, but there's been times where he could have been picked off quite easily, even in the game we just had.
There's a lot of times throughout the season where he could have been picked.
PFF had his performance as the worst quarterback performance of the season.
That's
obviously PFF, and you can take that with a pinch of salt. I do feel Carson has improved massively from them first 4 weeks, but I think the team as a whole has improved massively. But I'm happy that he's our quarterback. I don't feel like he's not that below average. And for this league, if we look at other kind of good team, other mediocre teams that have gone on and done things, and I think the Ravens is a perfect example of going and win a Super Bowl with a average quarterback, and I do believe Wentz is better.
Yeah, I mean, a big problem with Wentz is his read. His read isn't always the best. He throws to the wrong place way too often, and doesn't necessarily mean he's creating more interception opportunities, whether or not they're being converted by the defense or not. But there's so many times, and quarterbacks get criticized for check downs and stuff. But the amount of times he's got a 5-6 yard pass to Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, Jack Doyle slipping out to the side, Ali Cox, or Pascal or Pitt on a crossing route, or like a flat, sorry. And instead he's throwing into triple coverage, double coverage. It's way too high. It's way too high. I agree with Robbie. I think seeing as like Stafford didn't happen, he was the only viable option out there. We were never going to trade around to go and get a quarterback in the draft, and I'm glad we didn't. Carson Wentz this year is cheap in both terms of picks and contract. I mean, the Eagles are paying him more to play for us than we are, right? He's still relatively cheap in the grand scheme of things as a quarterback next year. Do I think he's going to be our long-term solution? No. But can you get to a Super Bowl with him and win it? Yeah, I don't think he's going to be the reason you get there or win, but he's not going to prevent you.
Nate, I wanted Sam Darnold.
I'm so glad we didn't get Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and the only reason it was just to complete that circle, because obviously the Jets gave us a load of picks, and it would have just been some sort of harmony, like some harmonious, beautiful occasion for then him to go on and win us the Super Bowl with the extra picks that we had.
And I've no doubt that he'd have done better in Indy, but he's still haunted by the ghost of Adam Gase, and it's not going away anytime soon, is it? I feel bad for the guy because when he first came into the league, and I did like him, but there's I don't know if it's a mental block or something. There's something wrong with that guy, and he's not great.
Just before we move on, I mean, I'm going to give Wentz a 5 because he was really non-existent in that game. It feels inevitable that he may cost us in crunch time playoffs this year, but I can still think he can improve with Reich. I mean, me personally, I don't want to talk too much more about this because we could spend all night talking about what we think about Carson. But I would love it. I would love it if he just spent the offseason with Peyton. Just spend the offseason with Peyton, because when you look back at quarterbacks, Peyton Manning is probably one of the cleverest at reading the defense. He is the true elite at reading defenses. That was his speciality. Obviously after that first rookie year, but
no one ever talks about that. Just
skip that one. I just love him. Just go out in the cornfields in Indy, get away from all the media, all the noise, with his dogs and his buggy and his guns, or whatever. And just throw the Peyton. But moving on to the league's MVP. I don't care what you say or who you say it is or who you think it is. I've actually got a stat for this, gents. When I was searching the web earlier, let me see if I can find it quickly.
You're definitely on leave from work, aren't you?
Yeah. I work term time only, mate. Okay, so I'm going to give you a stat. I just want you to guess who's got the most 10-yard rushes this season. Jonathan Taylor with 42. Most 20-yard rushes this season.
JT.
Yeah, most 30-yard rushes this season.
JT.
Yeah, most 40-yard rushes this season.
JT.
Yeah, most 50-yard rushes this season. And it goes up to 80. Most 80-yard rushes this season. This guy is not only taking the crown off Derrick Henry, he is ripping it off his sideline body and saying, "This is mine." he's a superstar. You can,
yeah, pretty incredible. I think looking at some of the holes he goes to, because our offensive line, I feel like it's better. Like from the first kind of 5-6 weeks for the running game, it has improved massively again. We're not quite what we were last year, but it's still very, very good. We've had Pinter come in. We've had injuries along that line.
Pinter's done an amazing job, by the way. Like,
we love the big man.
Fifth year draft pick. Sorry, fifth round draft pick to come in and be that good in a position that isn't really his at centre for 2 weeks. Quality.
Yeah, and the holes he's finding and going through is unreal. I don't remember a Colts team really that's kind of led by the running back. It's always been Peyton, it's always been Andrew, and was it Vic Ballard that kind of the last person that had 100-yard rushing game, and now it's a consistent week in, week out of 100 yards or more, and
8 weeks in a row now, isn't it?
Something silly like that. Lawrence, I think if you bring that up, Harrison.
Yeah. JT has 3 games with 170 yards plus. The rest of the NFL only has 2.
And when we're looking at the Titans, they were that one-man team, weren't they? They were that running back. Whereas we've got a lot more to us. But one thing that I want to kind of bring up is the snap count from Sunday, because that can't continue. It was 98%, I think the snap count was. 98%, sorry. And 29 carries, that's a lot for a guy in his second year. Obviously, we need him. He's obviously he was the reason that we got the win. But I think hopefully going down the season, obviously we're not playing the Patriots every week, and it needs to be shared around more. Hines is getting that big contract for a reason, and we haven't really seen him in the running game much at all the last 5-6 weeks. But it's got to be hard not playing that bell cow that's going to get you those yards and get you that completion. So I don't really know where I'm going with it, but yes, JT is amazing. Yes, he is a Pro Bowler. Yes, he is our MVP. Yes, he is the best running back I've seen in a Colts uniform. I will mention Trent Richardson because I love bringing him up every week. And how bad.
Funny, I was just thinking about him then.
Yeah. You'll be surprised how many times I think of him. So yeah, it's got to be managed. We can't just keep running him into the ground, even though, in his last snap of the game, he's taken the ball. He's had however many snaps it was, 60 something snaps, and then he goes for 70 odd yards and gets a touchdown. That is unique.
And achieves the fastest speed in the league this year at the same time.
Well, yes, but did you see Ashton Doolin run after him?
Yeah.
That boy has some skates on him.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we'll just bring up Quentin Nelson leading the jet sweep block last week.
Yeah, but it's a whole unit, and and I think we've mentioned the offensive line, but the holes JT is finding, you see it and you think, well, that's going to close up. He's going to get, but then he gets hit and he gets another 3 or 4 yards, maybe 6, 7 yards, maybe.
One of the great things that he's added to his game, he added to his game very quickly last year, and he's been doing it all year this year, even with the early problems we had on the offensive line, is finding those gaps. And the big difference is that early on in the first 4 or 5 weeks last season, it was almost like he was going into each carry with too much adrenaline, which you can't blame a rookie for doing, right? Like it's his first few games in the NFL, but he was almost trying to find a gap before it was there, and he was just running into traffic. Whereas now, if you notice, he receives the ball, and there's a pause. There's a very, very brief pause just before he reaches the line of scrimmage. That's when that gap opens up. Sometimes it's already there because Quentin Nelson's pancakes everybody on the line, but generally speaking, like he pauses, that's when the space opens up, and he's away. But the other brilliant thing that he's added to his game, again, he added it in last season, but he's continuing it, and he's always improving on it, is the yards after contact. The guy is how many people do you see? You know, on that drive where it was like, was that 11 run calls in a row or something?
Yeah. And he was just happy.
He's just carrying half the Pats line with him.
Yeah. Post game as well. He just
last year. He was benched for Jordan Wilkins last year.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was week 3 or week 4, and then he sat out the game afterwards, and Jordan Wilkins became our running backs. Obviously, Mac was out, and you know, going into this season, you know, we had Jordan Wilkins, who had a great year last year. Marlon Mack, who obviously coming off the injury, but had a great year. Marlon Mack was supposed to be our bell cow. Liam Hines got that massive contract, and then it was like, oh, we've got this rookie now, and you know, the four running backs who went into this season with, obviously now we're down to 2 and Deion Jackson and Mac kind of just sitting out now. But yes, it's beautiful, and the more we're on the game, the quicker the games are.
So I mean, for me, it was a 10 for JT just for that run at the end, making Hightower look silly was fantastic.
It's got to be 11, and because that block, Carson Wentz was about to get absolutely ruined, and JT's just head straight for the knees.
Yeah,
takes the rusher out, and Quentin gets the ball away for it. I think it was a 3rd down, wasn't it?
Yeah,
great football.
Well, yeah, I've got a couple of comments. Patriots have a questionable run D, but maybe the best pass in the NFL. You feed a running back in games like that. Yeah,
that's exactly what I said. Yeah,
and I do want to see a lot more 22 personnel. I mean, I think it would be.
Harrison, we've been saying that for weeks. You know how much we'd love to see Hines and JT in the backfield, but you know, I don't know what Hines has done. Hines must have done something, or you know, he's just not getting the snap. He's not getting the ball. He's not getting targeted. You know, bear in mind he was supposed to be the electrifying one coming.
I mean, that could be as much Carson as it is anything else.
Yeah, you know, he was getting a lot of checkdowns from Rivers, wasn't he? Because
he was, yeah. You were saying earlier as well about Carson, just spending time with Peyton. I'd love to see him spend some time with Rivers, frankly.
Yeah.
Teach Carson when he should be checking down. Get him doing it more.
Yeah. Okay, so 11 for JT, and obviously man of the match.
Yes, you'll mention Ashton Doolan with his running plays as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, the offensive line, just probably not the best in pass protection. You know, we've seen Eric Fisher falter, we've seen Smith, Golinsky falter.
We've seen
the one thing this team does is just it's happy. You know, Quentin Pinter filling in for Kelly, but when Kelly's in, they're happy just for Frank Reich to put all this weight on him. That, you know, you see Quentin speaking with Frank Reich saying, "Look, just put it on us. We're not bothered. We'll just bench it, eat it, and then shit it out. You know, send Aaron Donald at me. Sorry, Aaron Donald. My voice went funny then. And I'll just laugh it in."
Big Q's the only player that hasn't let Donald in for a sack or tackle for loss this season. Everybody else Donald's gone up against specifically. Yeah. Big Q didn't let him in. I mean, Julian Davenport let him in loads. You know, Fisher let him in a couple of times. Big Q, not once.
Yeah, but I mean, Lawrence just bringing up there was a misdirection Philly special play. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Patriot special, yeah, love it.
I'll get on to the point what Lawrence has brought up there in a minute. But for me, this offensive line, it's getting back to what we know, right? It's getting back to how we know this offensive line to be. And for me, a solid 7 out the bat.
Like just going on kind of the offensive line and what Lawrence mentioned there. Obviously, JT's come around and obviously led the blocking, but that whole scheme, you know, it's such a mobile offensive line.
Yeah.
You know, and you know the way they shifted across, it was great. And I don't think they get credit. Fisher gets a lot of the kind of blame, I'd say, because he's obviously the guy that was supposed to be coming in to replace Costanzo. We know he was supposed to be this ready-made, obviously coming off an injury, but we were told we should expect more from a left tackle there.
He's the weakest link on that line at the moment.
But again, from the first 5-6 weeks to what it is now, it's grown so much, and they're obviously still getting fit and they're still getting better together. And we've had some really good people just kind of slotting in and around it.
No. I think that you've got to be pretty impressed with the depth of that line as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I on Sunday when I saw that Ryan Kelly was out, I had a little time on the Patriots subreddit, watching them talking about Christian Barmore and Godshey, saying they're gonna feast. 1 sack and 3 tackles for a loss. Your boys didn't turn up. They just didn't turn up. What did they do? Absolutely nothing. And so I give the offensive line a 9. Stop that sack. You get a 10, boys. That's it. Quality.
We'll go 8. I'm happy to meet in the middle. Just Dino bringing up the same point we're saying, Pinter and Reed.
Yeah, Chris Reed was brilliant as well, isn't he? Great.
I really don't know where Ballard keeps finding people, but he does.
He can find a left tackle.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to tease Robbie, so we'll go with the right wide receivers next. For me, I never thought I would see this in my life as an Indianapolis Colts fan. I saw T.Y. Hilton blocking downfield. I never thought I'd see that. And, that goes to the credit of Frank Reich again, really making this a team where people want to run through the wall for each other. But the wide receivers, obviously, we can talk about not having much to do, Tarson, all the factors, but at the end of the day, they joined in the run game, and it's about that donkey work.
They do the grunt work, We've said it like last year, Matthew. Like Pittman wasn't really getting the recognition he deserved because even from last year, Pittman does the grunt work. He likes to get physical. It's just like people like Zach Pascal, T.Y. Hilton. They're not the biggest of people, but they still try and put the effort in. And from a route running from a catcher standpoint, I still have lots of questions over the unit. But as a whole, it was nonsense that Pittman got thrown out, and I'd love to have seen him stay in the game because I think that affected the play, the pass game quite a lot.
Ridiculous.
I actually have to say I get it.
That's cool.
I get it. He's definitely of the two that got thrown out. He's the one that has more of a right to feel hard done by because he was absolutely getting teams there, but he's raised his hands. He's pushed a couple of guys. He's doing stupid shit, and it wasn't the first time in a game. Like him and whatever the knob that got thrown out, whoever it was, like they've been going at it all game. So I get it.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to do.
T.Y. was a lucky boy because he pushed the ref over in that. Very lucky.
Again, he's. People say T.Y. pushed a ref over. He didn't go and look for a ref and push him over. He was in the pile, and he's just sort of. It's one of those, isn't it? It's a mess. It's handbags. We don't like it.
And another ref team would have flagged that and ejected him straight away. He is lucky, regardless of whether he meant it or not. You touch a ref, you go. So he's very lucky. I think that I got to sort of back up what Robbie was saying about the wide receivers.
Yeah.
They're a bit. They're the weakest unit on the team, I think, which is crazy to say because I look at them, I'm like, there's not a single one I don't like.
Yeah.
But I think we have to recognise their limitations. Pitt, he's quick, but there's not a lot of strength to him. He gets beat too often. Zach Pascal just goes missing. Doolin, we can't be too harsh about Doolin. He's only really starting to get not even getting regular targets yet, is he? He's getting the ball a bit, but probably not as much as he deserves. We haven't seen Strawn yet, really. Red shirt, yeah, whatever. We're not going to see him. It's fine. And T.Y.'s old. Love him. He's just old. Give him one reception for 10 yards every game, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Try and throw in a touchdown every now and then, but we can't expect too much. I think that has to be a target in free agency and the draft. We've got to do something, because that could really hold us back.
First of all, that's absolute slander on Michael Pittman. I am when Jack Doyle goes off to a retirement farm, Pittman's taken that mantle for me. Nate, also, just so Paris Campbell.
What about him? Who?
Exactly. The fact he took the number 1 shirt and didn't do anything. If you're taking the number 1 shirt, you've got to be elite. You've got to be turning up.
It's like turning up in neon boots, isn't it?
Exactly. You've got to show up, and it's not his fault he's not fit. It's not his fault he keeps getting injured. But you cannot go and take that number 1 shirt, talk shit, and then not deliver.
We've got to move on from him. I think we've got to move on from him. It's just too injury prone. He's a young guy. He's not proven anything. He might be fast, but if you can only run fast once every 17 games, what's the point?
Yeah.
Genuine waste of money.
I think Dino sums it up perfectly here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, there's not a single guy on that unit that, with the exception maybe of Campbell, just because I'm annoyed at this point. There's not a single guy on the wideout unit that I don't like. We've got Desmond Patman, who is somewhere. Who knows? I like all of them, but
yeah, we're
missing a player that's capable of making massive plays week in, week out. Pitt can do that at times, but again, he's a bit similarly to Pascal. Sometimes he lets the corner of covering him or a safety just rob him, and other wideouts wouldn't do it. Yeah, he's young still. He's got time. Yeah. I'm sure he'll be a solid option for years to come. But we need someone out there who's just gonna torch defenses, and we don't have anyone at the moment.
Let's move on to Robbie's point now and the tight ends.
10.
I mean, we say the wide receivers did a lot of donkey work in that game, but this game for the tight ends must be bruising on the bodies this morning. They were fighting every single line and every single snap. I mean, for me, they get an 8 because it was hard work. They had to work harder than everyone else, if you ask me.
Nate, do you want to go first?
I can't give him an 8 because that Mo Ali Cox drop is criminal.
Yeah,
I know it's got a lot of. I know the pass got a lot of sauce on it and it's high, but the guy's 17 foot tall.
It was the perfect.
He's practically around his ankles. He's that big. He's got to catch it. He just got to catch it. It was right between his hands.
Yeah,
there's no excuse for it.
Yeah. Rob.
I want to see more Granson still. The last few weeks, he's been popping up with catches here and there.
They're important catches as well, man. They're always at a crucial time.
Using people like Doyle and Granson, they can give you that kind of 5 or 6, 7 yards just to give the defense something different to think about. Mo is so inconsistent.
Yeah.
For a big guy, we know he transitioned from a basketball player. He had that brilliant catch. That was 2019.
A long time ago.
Against the Raiders. He's had some really nice red zone. When we were struggling with red zone, he seemed to be our answer for a few weeks there.
Yeah.
It was just one of them games. Just but they do kind of fill in for that sixth lineman quite often.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to make a confession about something I said about Jack Doyle.
Whoa!
In my podcast's AFC South preview show in the summer, I did say that I worried that he might be over the hill, and that last season, while solid, was a little bit of concern, but I'm never so happy to have been wrong. I'll say it again this summer.
Nate,
I absolutely love Jack Doyle, but I just worry that he's in a similar position to TY maybe, and he's coming towards the end possibly. And
wash your mouth out.
But I love him, and I do feel bad for saying it.
I need to come onto your show and spend 37 minutes just talking about Jack Doyle.
Doyle rules. He does rule. Yeah, I'll definitely get you on the show to talk up Jack Doyle. They all disagreed with me, by the way. There's a Cowboys fan and a Saints fan, and there was a Jags fan on there. They all disagreed with me. They're all like, "You're crazy."
You need the type of people that are Mr. Reliable, that don't make too much noise, that kind of have worked their way up, humble, great beard, and it just. He is everything that I love the NFL to be. Yes, it's good to get the Odell Beckham, the glitz and glamour that they can sell to the marketing people. God. But the majority of the teams are made up of these really good, humble, honest, hardworking people, and that's what he is for me. He's just so hardworking. He does so much grunt work, and he's had some really important catches. Like usually, his hands are usually Mr. Dependable. When you need to get that 10 yards, he'll be 11 yards. Straight across the middle, done.
Oh yeah. Look, like I said,
I appreciate your honesty, Nate.
I'm not happy that I said it.
No, this is a safe space.
But I'm glad that I was proven wrong. I love the guy.
But I think you just must have heard what you were saying, Nate, and thought he was like, I'm going to prove Nate wrong.
Absolutely. In which case, I'll tweet him much the same going into this coming season, and hopefully he goes, well. Got to do it again now, haven't
I? Moving on now, the defense. I'm going to say one thing, Robbie, and you're going to be shocked when I say it. What has this person done with Matt Eberflus, and who is he?
Do you know Nate, as a confession, earlier today, Harrison texted me saying, we've got a guest on, and I said, is it Matt Eberflus's wife? Just because he gets... Like Harrison's picture is up in the training room, and he's just a dartboard, which has been totally fair. Absolute everything we said about Eberflus, and we've been saying week in week out how bad things are, how soft it is, how just shit at times, like monumentally shit. But we've said we'd love to be proven wrong. Every time, and. We get these individual plays most weeks that, it gets us the takeaways that kind of helps us out. But we played a very, very good Patriots team, that have been on this beautiful run. If we had an edge rusher, we would have won that so comfortably.
Yeah.
I look forward to, I do look forward to Quitty and Deo progressing.
Yeah.
Quitty's looked really good so far this season. He's not been elite by any stress stage, but as a rookie, you can't be upset with his performance. He's not been bad. I don't think he's had a single bad game.
But would you say he's had a good game?
There are times when I'm looking at him going, he could have done more, but I don't think he's necessarily had a bad game. He's a rookie edge rusher. Do you know what I mean? Like,
the thing is, I'll quickly sum up Eberflus because I'm aware how long this show is going on now.
You got the Arsenal game to get to.
I'm not bothered about that, mate.
No one wants to watch Arsenal.
But anyway, no. So he schemed well, he adapted well, which we've not seen from Eberflus, which I was buzzing for. Literally, that was the happiest thing that came out of that game. He adapted well. He let Matt Jones get some trash time points, if you ask me. I was never in doubt, not once. For me, he stunted. You look at Butner and I think it was Stallworth. Just before the snap, Matt Jones sees the pre-snap defense, and just before he snaps it, you see Butner shift one tech. And all of a sudden, that throws the quarterback off, and it just wrecked havoc. I'd like to see more of that. For me, a solid 8 out of Eberfleece. I'll get to this comment from Tom. Defense is playing really well, really, really well at the moment. Yeah, I say we win our final 3 games. And the AFC. I mean, I've been saying it a long time, Tom. But you know that. And Dino, didn't they target 40 takeaways in the preseason? And people thought they were seeing. Yes, I did. They're nearly there. They are. But the defensive line, lads, it's been a problem all year round. But for me, it feels like it's just starting to wake up. Things are starting to click. I've watched DeForest Buckner get triple teamed against the Titans. That's how much weight that guy carries. I think we're building here. And I think
the problem on that offensive line is that when Buckner's being triple teamed, we are not effective enough elsewhere. Buckner on the edge, is a very pretty thing. Oh, there you go. Buckner on the edge is a very pretty thing, and I want to see more of it, just like Dino. It was one of their better. I think it was one of their better games, and we only had one more tackle for a loss than the Patriots did, which tells you everything you need to know about the game. But I think it was a solid game. I think their offensive line, it was a definition of bend, don't break. Like we were putting them under a lot of pressure, and they held their own. But it did cause Jones issues at times. So yeah, no, I like a lot of what I see across that defensive line, but they've all got to step up, including Buckner. I think they all need to step up.
So I'd say run defense excellent, pass defense average.
Yeah, it sums it up really, doesn't it?
And I've obviously seen the time, but we've waxed lyrical about Bobby O's progression this year. We needed him to step up from Anthony Walker. It's been a slow progression, but taking like his play, the way he's eaten up a lot of field across the middle there, and his hands for that interception. That's something. A wide receiver's hands they were.
Yeah.
It was exactly like Kenny Moore's interception against Houston, wasn't it? It was like almost like a replay of it. I've got to say, if we're wrapping up soon, which sounds like we are.
We'll go through all the teams, so we've still got a while. I just don't want to keep you boys forever.
I was going to say, Rock Yassin was targeted once all game, which is a massive improvement on last year, where teams were attacking him over and over again because they knew they were going to get a PI off of him. As I just looked up a stat which I saw the other day, and I couldn't quite believe. Rock Yassin, since week 10, has allowed 3 receptions on 11 targets and 169 coverage snaps. 169. That guy has gone from being a bust last year to being borderline elite. Like, that guy is fantastic, and what an improvement.
We said it all off season. If he can stop getting these silly flags and keep getting handy, he can take that next step, and certainly he has. We just need someone else back there that isn't Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that Blackman is usually that side of the field with Rhodes, and he's out. Like, Sandeo sucks.
Whoa!
He could have taken 4 guys' heads off this week. Like, he played borderline dangerous this
pass
week.
Defense, Sandejo is I wouldn't say mate, I'd say fantastic. Like, he is down the field. He will smash you.
I'm not seeing the same guy. I'm seeing someone who's incredibly risky. Yeah, I love Isaiah Rodgers.
We love Isaiah Rodgers.
That guy's a fantastic football player.
My point with Sandejo is I feel he's been done by the media, and I feel he's been done dirty by the media. You know, oh, he's the worst safety in the league. All this, you know, and at the start of the season, he was comically bad. He was comically bad at the start of the season, but you also have to think where he's come from. That Patriots game was for me a 7, and that is what I wanted from him. It was. You know, we can say he's playing dangerous, but on that red zone pass, did the person catch it? No. You know, I hope he's okay, by the way. I hope both of them are okay, but
yeah, it'll be fine.
For so long, the Colts have been soft underbellied, and being an Arsenal fan, it's always been a double hit, that watching soft underbelly teams give up leads, and it's happened this season. It was nice having someone go, just, nah, you're not having it. It's ours. And I think he is fantastic in the run game. Although pass coverage, he can be
laboured.
I mean, he was miles away from Hunter Henry when he should have been tracking that.
Yeah.
He always seems like he either seems to be killing somebody or 40 yards off of who he should be covering. I'm just going to give out a couple more shout outs just because there are players that just don't get enough love. Kari Willis is frankly phenomenal.
Amen.
That guy is sick. And who else was I going to mention? That's great. I think we all know Grover Stewart is
he's the dad of the group.
Dirty dog. That man is a dirty dog, isn't he? Yeah. Ironically, I've forgotten who I was going to give a shout out because they don't get enough love.
Can we give it to Jordan Glasgow just because he's always there on the special teams and he just never. He probably gets about one snap every 3 games.
Oden as well, George Oden.
Yeah,
George Oden. Yeah, I love
should we score it quickly then and then?
10. Just give everybody else 10.
At 10, we beat the Pats.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen a Colts victory over the Pats. By the way. Yeah. I started the first NFL game I ever watched was the Bears Super Bowl. Picked the Colts literally seconds before a touchdown. The Bears kickoff touchdown went in. So I was like, good stuff. But stuck with it. Watched odd games here and there through till about 2012. Well, no, 2014 I think is when I started watching regularly, and I haven't watched, and it's not until the last 3 years where I've watched literally like every single game. So yeah, never seen us beat them, and well, no, I have now. I had never seen them beat them, and I've never seen us beat the Steelers either. So that's the last team I need to see us beat.
So getting a special mention as well, Lucas Oil Stadium. I have never heard, like, obviously because it's the game, but it can get loud, and and certainly they created a couple of flags, and it's just they need to be like it every week.
Just for me, the fans attending that game. I just want to wrap it up now with the last couple of bits. I was scared when I saw the officiating crew we had going into this game. I thought, no, here we go.
One of their better games, actually. I didn't notice much they did wrong, which, frankly, for any ref team is rare.
So for me, the refs get a 5 because they can never get more than a 5.
Amen to that, brother.
And last but not least, I think someone who deserves a special shout out, who works hard, is always been around. But never quite makes the grade, is Snake McDaniels. I just love watching his face. Oh, that was amazing. And like Chris Ballard said, lads, the rivalry's back on. Nate,
what rivalry? They're not good enough to hang with us.
Hey, we're gonna see him in the playoffs.
No, we won't. We won't. We'll be moving too fast past them.
Yeah. Nate, I want to thank you for joining me and Robbie. Do you just want to give yourself a quick shout out? Who you are, what you do, where we can find you, all the jazz?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. It's like I said, I'm not allowed to talk about the Colts on my own podcast, so it's nice to get out of my system before I go and do my recording in an hour's time. Host of the Un-American Football Show. You can find us you can see my handle there at Tough Show Official. Find us literally anywhere you can find a podcast. We'll be there. I don't even know them all. They're just everywhere. I keep finding new ones. It's really weird. And then we do a YouTube predictions show, which drops every Thursday. A little competition between me and the other two hosts, which I'm currently losing comfortably because I keep going with my heart and I get let down every week on, week out. But that's the NFL this year, isn't it? Mental.
That's all the fans. We're allowed to do that.
But you search again, Tough Show Official, the Un-American Football Show on YouTube, and you come and laugh at me on there too.
Gents, it's been a pleasure. Robbie, excellent as always. Guys, I said it. I said the Colts were winning the Super Bowl this year. I did also say it was going 17-0. But I don't know how you stop this JT train at the minute and this Colts freight train. I don't know how the rest of the league stops it. I think it's do we play Friday night? Is it?
No, it's Chris. Well, it's
Boxing Day. Boxing Day at 1:15 a.m.
Against the Cards.
Against the Cardinals, yeah.
They're going to be looking to bounce back. That's going to be a tough game. That's one of the ones we're predicting this week, and I've got us winning that 31-27.
That'll do.
A win's a win.
JT all day, boy.
We can win every game 3-0.
Do you know what?
There's only one stat that counts.
Carson's getting 3 TDs. It's calling it now.
Ooh,
excellent.
I don't know if I trust you to do that.
You heard it here first.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. See you all later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.